Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
In the delicate arena of compliance, every conversation matters. Traditional methods can leave callers feeling unheard, but Ethico changes the game. Our empathetic interview technique reshapes compliance calls into powerful, compassionate interactions, ensuring no crucial detail is missed. It's about creating a conversation that matters, that resonates, that makes a difference. Be the change in your compliance approach. See the transformation for yourself at ethico.com/CPN. Book a demo, try our free ROI calculator, and explore the white paper by Tom Fox, The ROI of Compliance.
The Daily Compliance News for August 1, 2024, the new Boeing CEO edition. And we begin with that story as Boeing has hired Kelly Ortberg as its next CEO. Ortberg, interestingly, worked for one of Boeing's big suppliers, Rockwell Collins, until 2018, when it merged with another aerospace manufacturer and eventually ended up part of the company formerly known as Raytheon, now known as RTX. You may remember RTX has a big FCPA reserve set. But they have reached outside Boeing, which of course is a good first step. And with Ortberg having worked for one of Boeing's suppliers, it's hoped that he will know the problems that suppliers are having. Next up, from CH Aviation, a first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, it reports that one Julian Aries, president of JM International, a U.S.-based aircraft component services, pled guilty last month to violations of the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. Actually, he pled guilty this month, and it involved bribery of the South African Airways and its maintenance subsidiary, South African Airways Technical. Between January 16 and 2020, Aries and his co-conspirators bribed to maintain a 5-year contract with South African entity. Next up, from Reuters, FirstEnergy, still in the news, this time as the company is fighting tooth and nail against a shareholder claim that the board was engaged in nefarious conduct around the company's massive bribery scandal. Well, its lawyers have lost at the district court a claim for privilege under the investigations of the underlying bribery claim. Obviously, this is significant, and if the plaintiffs get a hold of that, it's going to go a long way towards putting FirstEnergy back into the negative spotlight. One, I can't imagine why on earth they're defending this, but two, why they haven't settled it. So FirstEnergy still in the scandal. And our final story comes to us from the Financial Times, which reports that the EU has targeted a corruption probe at a Chinese LNG project in Cyprus. So the Belts and Roads or Belts and Suspender project looks like it was one big con of bribery and corruption, and every place the Chinese went, they were engaged in bribery and corruption to get these contracts to try to put these countries into financial servitude towards China. As I mentioned at the start of this podcast, this month's sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Have you ever wondered how to show the ROI of your compliance program? Have you struggled with the budgeting process, getting the funds you want for your compliance program? Well, I've partnered with Ethico to put together a white paper on the ROI of compliance, which shows you not only how to demonstrate ROI, but also how to speak finance when you're sitting across from the CFO with your budget proposals. Check out the website and get the white paper. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.